ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وتلك حجتنا آتيناها إبراهيم على قومه نرفع درجات من نشاء إن ربك حكيم عليم بارك الله لي ولكم في القرآن العظيم ورفعني وإياكم بالآيات والذكر الحكيم أستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المؤمنين واستغفروه إنه هو الغفور الرحيم سبحانك لا علم لنا إلا ما علمتنا إنك أنت العليم الحكيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي رب يسر ولا تعسر وتمم بالخير وبك نستعين يا فتاح يا فتاح يا فتاح صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم الأمين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, it's a great blessing of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that He has given me and you the ability and tawfiq to participate in this gathering. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering a source of guidance for all of us. And we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make this gathering one of the means of our entry into Jannah. Inshallah, again tonight's gathering I will try to make it very precise, very concise. I want to share with you only one ayah. And this is an ayah from Surah Al-An'am. It's verse number 83. Chapter number 6, verse number 83. This ayah is about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. Now I want to share with you something about Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam that is commonly misunderstood. And sometimes it confuses people so much that sometimes it messes up their iman. First of all, they say that, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he looked at the sun, he looked at the moon, and then he said, okay, this is my Lord, this is my Lord. And then after a while he said, no, it cannot be my Lord, it cannot be my God because it sets in. So some clarification about these kinds of things. The first thing that I want to say is that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is one of the most intelligent people that ever lived on the face of this dunya. It is not literally that he looked at the sun. By the way, I'm talking about the verses that I mentioned just before this verse. That verse that I recited in front of you from Surah Al-An'am. The verses that I'm talking about, that he looked at the sun and he said, this is my Lord. These verses are from the same surah, and these verses are mentioned just before this ayah. It is not literally that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, he looked at the sun and he got excited and he started worshipping the sun. And then when it sets in, he said, oh, I never realized that it sets. It can be my God, I can't worship him. And then he looked at the moon and he said, moon looks very shiny. So I should go for the moon and I should worship moon. And then he started worshipping moon. And then the morning came and moon disappeared and he said, oh, la uhibbul afilin. I don't like the things that disappear. I don't really know. Morning came, sun disappeared, moon disappeared. I didn't know that it was temporary. It was not that permanent. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is doing all of this because it's a demonstration of how stupid shirk can be. He's not actually believing in all these things. He is demonstrating that how stupid you can be if you believe in all these things. So it's a demonstration of the stupidity of shirk. He's not actually believing in these things. He's demonstrating that how stupid you can be if you believe in sun and moon. Now, of course, in doing so, he's offending his nation. If you understand sarcasm, if you consider it as a sarcasm, he's offending his nation. And later on, we all know that he gets actually even more offensive. He goes and destroys their idols, doesn't he? He goes and he destroys all the idols, he destroys all the temples, and then he leaves the axe in the hand of the big one. And when they came to ask him that who destroyed all of our idols, he said, "Bal fa'alahu kabiruhum." It's the big one, ask him, he destroyed all the idols. Right? Now we should notice that all Anbiya Karam alayhimus salatu wasalam, they didn't do that. If you look at the legacies of Ibrahim, if you look at the legacies of different Anbiya Karam alayhimus salatu wasalam, no prophet broke the idols. No prophet went into the temples, went into the places where idol worshippers are worshipping and then started breaking the idols or started destroying the temple. Even our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he didn't do that. Yes, until after Fatah Makkah. After he conquered Makkah, then he broke the idols. But again, after he conquered Makkah, this was not the stage of da'wah. At the stage of da'wah, he never broke the idols. He never went into a temple, never broke the idols. He never used this as a tool of da'wah. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam used this as a tool of da'wah. All Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam, they never do such thing. Actually, a very interesting thing, when I was studying in Al Maktoum, I had a roommate from Hyderabad, India Hyderabad, no Pakistani Hyderabad, India Hyderabad. And you know Hyderabad, it's a mixed kind of city. It's a Muslim dominant city, but still there are Hindus who live there. And he told me one very interesting story. He said one time, because the people in Hyderabad, most of them, they are from Brailwi Maktaba Fikr. So they are from Brailwi school of thought, and they celebrate the Mawlid of Rasulullah. They celebrate the birthday of Rasulullah. So he said every time we would celebrate the birthday of Prophet Muhammad, these Hindus, they would come and they would make certain kind of troubles for us. They would create some kind of chaos, some kind of trouble in our celebration. So one time, we youngsters, we decided that we will go and we will destroy their temple. We will go, because every time they made something, they made a mess in our celebration. They create chaos in our... So this time we will go and we will destroy one of their temples. And they asked one of the Imam Sahib over there, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant all of us guidance. But the Imam Sahib said that you can do that, because it is the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Ibrahim alayhi salam did that. So you can do that. You can go and break the idols or destroy their temple. So he said, we went and we destroyed the temple and we came back. Now, you know, a lot of people, they ask this question. The reason why I'm sharing this with all of you is that a lot of people, they ask this question, that your religion, it means it teaches intolerance. Because one of your prophets who you believe in, we say Millat Abikum Ibrahim, that our millat is upon the millat of Ibrahim. Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam is our father. That's what we say. That's what Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said. So people ask this question, that your religion teaches intolerance. Your prophet went and he destroyed the sacred sites of some other religion. How are you going to defend that? Now what is the response of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Allah is enough to clarify the situation for all of us. Not just for all of us, but even for non-Muslims. That's why I'm sharing this ayah with you. Now listen to this ayah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, verse number again 83, Surah Al-An'am, Surah number 6. وَتِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا. This thing that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam did with their idols. تِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا. This was my hujjat. This was the way I made a case. تِلْكَ حُجَّتُنَا. This was my way of making a case. آتَيْنَاهَا إِبْرَاهِيمَ. That I only gave to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam ala qawmi, against his nation. Let me make it easier for you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is saying that this is the way I made a case against the people of Ibrahim, and I only and exclusively and specifically this thing I have given to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. In other words, now you cannot use this for any other nation. Allah is very specific in what He's saying. He said, I made this case given to only Ibrahim. Allah mentioned the name. Only to Ibrahim ala qawmi, so that he can use it only against his own nation. What are we understanding there? That this was particularly given to Ibrahim alayhi salatu. See, Allah sent different punishments for different people. We understand that, right? Allah sent different punishments for different people. With the people of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent this admonition. That Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam went and he destroyed all the idols. He destroyed all the idols. Allah says this was particular to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, which means that this can never be repeated again in the light of this ayah. This thing that Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam did, it can never be repeated again in the light of this ayah. Now some people, they say, what about the comparison between this and Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam going and destroying idols after Fatah Makkah, after he conquered Makkah, after the conquest of Makkah? Now, when Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam conquered Makkah, that was not the time of da'wah. That was the time of punishment. Just think about it for a second. Think about it. It was the time of punishment, because this was the time when a nation was defeated, right or wrong? Yeah. This was a time when a nation was defeated by the help of Allah. إِذَا جَاءَ نَصْرُ اللَّهِ وَالْفَتْحِ. This was a time when Fatha was given to Muslims. This was a time when a nation was annihilated by the will of Allah, by the help of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But still Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala only chose to destroy their faith and not them. Right or wrong? Muslims never destroyed them, they destroyed idols. Allah chose to destroy only the idols and not the people. So it was actually a form of mercy given to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam and not the punishment. It was not the other way around. But in the case of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, it was specifically given to Ibrahim to make a case against his own people, because the people of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, they were very difficult people. They were difficult to communicate with. They were very difficult to be convinced. Allah gave this certain tactic to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam, and after Ibrahim so many Anbiya came. Allah never gave this tactic to any other Nabi, which actually proves the point that I'm sharing with you. That this was specifically given to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam to make a case against his own nation. But then Allah says very, very clearly, نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. Because of this one thing, never think less of Ibrahim alayhi salam. نَرْفَعُ دَرَجَاتٍ مَنْ نَشَاءُ. We raise the status, we raise the level of whoever we want to. And then Allah says, إِنَّ رَبَّكَ حَكِيمٌ عَلِيمٌ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one who is full of wisdom and who is full of knowledge. In other words, at that time, that strategy was the most wise strategy. It was full of wisdom. We don't care what the critics say. We stand by the legacy of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. For the people of Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam at that particular time, Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam going into the temple and destroying their idols, that was the perfect thing to do. That's what we believe. And that's why it was revealed to Ibrahim alayhi salatu wasalam. This is the kind of confidence and this is the kind of reliance we need to have, not only in the revelation, but in the legacies of all Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam. The only reason I share this with all of you is that we should never feel like we need to respond to all of these critics and what they say about Anbiya Karam, because we live in the West. So people ask a lot of questions, and sometimes we feel obliged that we need to defend Anbiya Karam. Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam never came into this world so that we can justify them or we can justify their behavior. They came into this world so that the other people had to justify their falsehood. We are no one to justify Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam. So there is a reason behind everything, and it's up to us to find that reason. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make us among those who give respect, honor and love to the legacies of Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam, who have pride in the legacy of Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam. It saddens me and it hurts me a lot when we people become really emotional when it comes to Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when people make cartoons about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but on Fox News or on different programs, when people sit down and they make fun of Anbiya, for example, they make fun of Musa alayhi salatu wasalam so much, they make fun of Isa alayhi salatu wasalam so much, and we think that this is something that we need to, this is something that we don't care. They have their own followers, so this is something that they need to care about. There's something that they should be concerned about. Allah tells us in the Quran, وَسَلَامٌ عَلَى الْمُرْسَلِينَ, that I send my salam upon all Anbiya. So we need to have respect. This is the part of my iman. This is the part of your iman. You have to learn this and you have to understand it. And you should never ever appreciate anyone making fun of Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam in any way, shape or form. When people talk about freedom of expression, when people talk about freedom of speech, I always give them this example. If there is a freedom of expression, if there is a freedom of speech, then why don't you use N-word for African American? Why don't you use N-word for African American? Why don't you use CH for Asian Americans? Why can't you say anything about homosexual people? You understand the sensitivities when it comes to these people. When it comes to Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam, we are sensitive. You can say anything to me. You can say anything to my family. When it comes to Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam, we are sensitive. And I'm not telling you to become emotional and start bashing things and start doing, irrational things. What I'm encouraging you to do is to learn about Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam. That when people talk about Anbiya in a negative way, our koshish and our effort should be is to understand and realize why Anbiya Karam alayhi salatu wasalam did certain things at the particular point of time. And when we understand the wisdom, then we will be in a better position to share that information with the rest of the people. But it requires effort. It requires effort. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. May Allah give us tawfiq to understand whatever we have learned today. May Allah give us tawfiq to